Hi, hello everyone. This is Chakit, and today we are going to discuss about the reading problems which are faced by these students. So we have got a trainer with us. Her name is Kunjan, and today she will tell you the five biggest problems what students face in IELTS reading. And she's been training students for the last 3 years with us, and she has trained a lot of students, and she has got the expertise in training students. So let's hear from her. And yeah, hi Gunjan, how are you doing?
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
So
Yes,
Gunjan,
so
yeah,
yes,
please
sir.
go ahead.
Okay. So most common, I think, reading problem that students face nowadays. We can have a discussion on that.
Mm-hmm,
Slowly and gradually, I will explain one point at a time. The
mm-hmm,
very first difference I want to talk about first, academic and general reading. In academic, the passage is little lengthy, and
mm-hmm,
there are three passages, whereas in general the passage tends to be a little smaller, and
mm-hmm,
there are 4 to 5 passages in general category.
mm-hmm,
The most common problem that students face, the number one, is time management. Students are not able, firstly, not able to complete the passage within the duration of 1 hour.
mm-hmm,
That's the most common problem that they face. And to how to overcome that problem, the very first thing that I would suggest is it requires lot of practice. Okay, this is not something which comes overnight. It requires a lot of practice. Second, few tips here and there I would like to suggest is, generally one needs to understand that first, in general, the first passage is easy, then it is little tougher and toughest. That's how it goes. So management, try,
mm-hmm,
if the person feels that the first passage is easy, try to and see, for instance, you have 20 minutes of time per passage, 3 passages, 20 minutes each. If there are 4 passages, then 15 minutes each. So try to complete the first passage 5 minutes earlier,
mm-hmm.
so that you save that 5 minutes and give it to the last passage, which is the difficult one.
Okay.
Okay, that is one tip I would like to give here.
Mm-hmm,
And one has to go through the questions first. I would suggest, mostly it works for most of the students, don't have to read the entire passage with I'll come back to it a little later, but I want to go through this first, that you have to read the questions first very
mm-hmm,
quickly, and then start reading the passage. Okay.
mm-hmm.
And if one is not able to find if one is not able to find one answer, don't have to waste time looking for that particular answer, rather just leave it and move to the next one. In the end, if one has time, then you can look for the question which you have left in between.
Mm-hmm. So basically,
Okay.
we should focus on questions which are easier to find. So the best
Yes.
strategy would be that go through the question first and try and locate the maximum answers in the passages, and
Yes.
save time for the difficult ones which you are not able to find it in first go. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes. Don't waste more than 2 minutes, I would say. That is also, I'm giving extra 2 minutes is much more than required. 1.5 minutes in looking for a particular question, not wasting much time, and move to the next one.
Okay.
If in the end, if one has time, then they can look for the questions wherein, if one has left it in between, they can look for the question.
I have a question here, Kunjan.
Yes, sir.
So let's suppose there are a lot of paraphrasing what happens in IELTS, right? So question
Yes,
will
sir.
have a different word. The passage will have a different word for the same thing. Like let's suppose
Hmm.
morning meal and a breakfast. They both are same thing. But
Same, true.
so how do we tackle this situation, the problem, or how it will like how what we can suggest to our students, how we can solve this problem on their behalf, what they can do.
Okay, this is also one problem, like
Mm-hmm.
children face, that they expect that the question or the sentence, you will get the exact same
Mm-hmm.
sentence in the passage, which never comes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for that I think one has to read a lot, and they should be familiar with good vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give some tips. I have that same question also. I have made a list of the students that they face difficulty in. I'll
Mm-hmm.
get back to it later.
Okay.
Okay. And like recently, one of my student wasted a lot of time in. She was What she did was she was writing all the answers in the question booklet, and she was waiting for the last minute to transfer the answer from the question booklet to the answer sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the examiner must have snatched away the sheet or must have cancelled the last few questions. That So that is also one tip I want to give you, is don't wait for the last minute to transfer your answer. If you're done with one passage, just transfer those answer to the from the question booklet to the answer sheet, and then move to the next one, because no extra time. Listening, still one has 10 minutes to do that, but
Mm-hmm.
in reading you just have 1 hour to transfer your answers from the question booklet to the answer sheet. So not do not wait for the last minute to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
And the most Yes, sir.
so yeah. So then it's going good. Yeah. Please tell me.
Yeah. Okay. The next problem, what like this is problem that student face is, they intend to read the passage first and then they look for the answer. I would rather suggest is read the questions first, highlight the keywords, and then start reading the passage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one has to understand that not all the questions follow the passage order. It is not that the A answer will be in the first paragraph or the B answer will be, that will be very easy to locate. It is not that easy to crack. So one needs to understand that not all questions follow the passage order.
Okay.
Mostly the next problem that students face is in matching the headings or matching the paragraphs. Okay.
Action.
So headings and paragraphs again, it is suggested that you tend to read the initial first, once you get the heading sentence in the
Mm-hmm.
question, and get back to the paragraph, read the first 2 3 lines. One will
Mm-hmm.
understand what that paragraph is about. If that
Mm-hmm.
is not something which is similar, just leave that and move to the next one. At least within reading a sentence or two, one intends to get, like, what is that paragraph talking about, and whether that is matching my statement or not.
So you
So
don't. So you don't recommend uh, reading the whole passages straight away. Just
no.
go. So reading the question first and then analyzing
Yes.
the passage.
Yeah, matching the headings, I would suggest read the first 2 lines, and you
Mm-hmm.
will have a gist as to what is that paragraph talking about. If it is not relevant,
Mm-hmm.
then you can skip that and move to the next one.
Okay. Okay.
And like children who are standing somewhere around 5.5, or like scoring 5 or 5.5,
Mm-hmm.
that is because of their lack of understanding of vocabulary in IELTS. Reading can be from intermediate to upper intermediate. Okay, mostly answers will always be paraphrased. Words can be replaced with synonyms. You will not find the exact sentence in your paragraph. So
Mm-hmm.
for that, I would suggest that you require a lot of practice.
Mm-hmm.
One needs to read magazines, read newspapers. Over
but
there
but
you can
students do not have so much of patience. Like they just want, like whenever they enroll for training, they imagine somehow that uh, the trainer would have some magic wand that she can just spread over their head, and everything will come to them automatically. So how do we do this? How do we put these students in the habit of reading?
For that, sir, one needs to understand that this is not something which magic wand is. Magic wand will do the work. It
Mm-hmm.
generally, as IELTS can be completely, the course can be completed in the duration of 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
So like enough books are there. If they don't also want to read the entire magazine or newspaper, start at least reading word games. Whenever they are facing any difficulty in understanding a particular word, they can Google it or open a dictionary, write down that word, the meaning, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe alternate days, if they don't want to do it daily, just go through those words on regular basis.
Okay, so playing around with the words is the key here. Like they should know
Yes,
the meaning of maximum words possible and how
yes.
it can be used. Right?
One suggestion I would also give here is, if also they are facing mostly difficulty in understanding a paragraph, they can translate it in their own mother tongue as
Mm-hmm.
the what that statement is saying, and then look for that passage and read what that passage is saying, translating in their head,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in their mother tongue itself, and that also works for most of the students,
Okay, great.
because always the answer will be paraphrased.
Mm-hmm.
It will never be the exact same word. Second, I don't know the number right now, but
That's fine.
mostly if mostly what students face difficulty is, if they are not able to locate the answer, they reread the passage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, rereading the passage is it will, it will waste your time, and that 1 hour of duration with 3 to 4 paragraphs, it
Mm-hmm.
you will not be able to cover all the 40 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, one or two questions like that come in order
Mm-hmm.
are missing words, or fill in the blanks, or table, or
Mm-hmm.
completing of summary, true, false, not given, not always, but sometimes, and yes, no, not given. These are the questions that come in order. Mostly, it comes in order.
So which
So,
one
if
comes in
one
order? Which one? Sorry, which one comes in order?
missing words,
Missing word.
fill in the blanks, table completion,
Completion.
and completing of summary.
They are in order always.
Yeah, they are in order. True, false, not given, and yes, no, not given are rare case of answers that can be in order.
True, false, not given, and yes, no,
Yes,
not
no, not given are rare case.
rarely in order.
Yeah, rarely in order. Multiple type questions also, like which has 3 to 4 options and one has to pick one. That also like it comes in order.
So this will fairly make it easy for the students to locate the
To
answer. And
understand,
yeah,
yes.
if they are
Like
in
the
the
multiple choice questions, wherein there are 3 to 4 options and one has to pick only one option. Like
hmm,
they must have like I would suggest, like if you have common questions, keep this for the last. Do this at the last time. Like if you have fill in the blanks, you can do it. If you have any other different type of questions, do that first, because after reading, once you have read the passage, then you know that those options, you can cut those options straight away which is incorrect.
okay, okay.
Yeah, that is something which also works. Like they have read the passage once, so you can do this type of question in the last,
Hmm.
for that particular passage itself, so that okay, I've read the passage and these are the hints which I have. They can straight away cross the answers which are incorrect, and then maybe 1 or 2 options are there, then it will be easy for them to locate, okay, as to which is the correct one.
Anything else we would like
And
to add in?
sorry, sir.
Is anything else we would like to add here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are questions which do not come in order.
Okay. Question.
Wherein one has to read, where there you have to read the entire passage.
Do not
Come in
come
order is
and
mostly matching the headings and matching the paragraphs
matching heading,
and matching the paragraphs.
matching paragraph. Okay.
Yeah, for this also the same thing that we had a discussion about a little earlier.
Hmm.
Answer all these type of questions, do other type of questions first, and then do headings of that particular passage, so that you have already read the passage once and it saves a little time.
Okay. So passage first. So when they are not in, say, do not come in order. So whenever it's not in
Yeah,
order, then passage first.
yeah. One has to read the entire passage and do the other type of questions from that passage first, and then do the heading questions. As one has already read the passage once, so it will, save a little time in understanding that options and matching the information, matching the paragraph. It will be easy for the students to locate the correct option.
Perfect. Because most of the
Yeah.
students, they face difficulty in reading, and reading is something what they have to do in their own time. So
Yes, sir.
these tips will be very beneficial,
Yeah.
especially for them.
And yes, sir. And one thing that, like, students, they do is intensive reading. If they don't know a particular word, they look for the meaning,
Mm-hmm.
and they reread the passage, which is waste of time when it comes to IELTS reading. One has to do is extensive reading.
Mm-hmm.
Read continuously. If you also do not understand any word, just move on and read it. At least one will have a gist as to what the paragraph is about. If you don't know the meaning of a particular word, if you're not able to even pronounce that particular word, just move on. You don't have to look for the meaning. You, as it is, one will not get any dictionary there. You have to do extensive reading only,
Okay.
because
So
most
don't.
of the information that is given in the paragraph is just the background information. It is not the relevant information.
Okay. So you basically mean that don't get into the, like, don't try and understand the passage. However, just get the
Yeah,
gist of the passage so that you are able to
the
locate
passage.
the answer what you want to look for. So is it possible without?
Yes, sir.
So is it possible without understanding the passage?
No, it's not possible. Like, one or two words one can avoid, not the
Okay.
passage.
Okay.
If one is not able to understand a particular meaning of a word, just go ahead and like, it is like a blank. One will automatically understand what is it about. Because intensive reading is like, avoid. It's suggested that one should avoid intensive reading. Just skim, scan, what is basically suggested here.
What's
And don't
next?
reread the passage.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, read the questions first and then highlight the keywords in the question as well as the text, so that it is easy for one to, like, once you read the question and you highlight the keywords and then you start reading the passage, it will automatically click that, okay, this is something which I read in the question. Stop, pause, highlight those statements in the passage also, and it will be easy for the student to locate the answer.
Read the keyword from the question.
Yeah, highlight the keywords in the question as well as the text.
Text, and this will lead to, like, it will make
Finding
it.
the finding the answers quickly. Because this is not like, it is not important for you to understand each and every word, each and every sentence. You will have a gist, and then, like, what is it about, and then you can locate the answer.
Mhm. To avoid the difficult word, don't do intensive reading, whereas you should
Yes,
do extensive reading.
extensive reading.
So this is quite helpful. Moving on to the next
And
one.
lastly, sir, one last tip that I want to give is, as like, one has to read English as much as possible, play word games, because always read the like, one has to, if one has to look for the answer, reading is very important. Always read the passage to find the answer. You don't have to understand the entire paragraph or anything. You just have 15-20 minutes, or maybe if there are 4 paragraphs, you have 10 minutes for the first one. Just read the questions and read to find the answer.
So uh, don't go for understanding the passage, whereas go
Yes, right.
for
Finding the
finding the
answer.
go for the answers. Perfect. So, what books do you recommend, Kunjan, for the students to prepare for?
So Cambridge,
Okay.
like that's the best.
So we do provide them the Cambridge books so that they
Yes.
can prepare. They can download it from
They
our
have,
website also.
yeah, like initially, like the starting books they can because that is something which they are not familiar, the skimming and scanning and extensive reading.
Hmm.
Initially I would suggest that okay, one can go for like the first two, maybe first two books. Because that is something very new for them. They can do inclusive reading,
Hmm.
sorry, intensive reading.
Hmm.
And they can take 1 hour, say 5 to 10 minutes extra, and then slowly and gradually with practice they can get back to skimming, scanning, and get back to extensive reading, and look for only look for only, read the passage only to look for the answers rather than understanding the entire passage.
Okay.
Yes, and mostly I think most of the students face difficulty in match the headings
Mm-hmm.
always. So I always tell them read first, like read the question first, read the first few lines, and it will give you a gist of the paragraph. And then if you know that okay, this is not something similar, leave that leave that paragraph and move to the next one. You don't have to read the entire paragraph, and rather just skim and scan. That is something which later on with regular practice and within after completing 2 to 3 books, it will be easy for them to skim and scan. Because always no answers are direct here. Okay, always the answers you will not find it exactly in the same words. It will be paraphrased. It will be the synonyms will be used. So
Mm-hmm.
one needs to understand that. And if not, if you're not able to locate, if you're not able to understand the statement, at least try to in your mind translate it in your mother tongue, then read. Mostly that I would suggest is for true false not given, because mostly students uh, they get confused between false and not given and true and not given.
Mm-hmm.
So like translate it in your mother tongue and then read the passage. Is it talking exactly the same thing? Is it talking half of the same thing, or there is no conversation about it? Then it will,
Mm-hmm.
you will be easy for, mark it true false not given or yes no not given.
True. True. So, how's the like? What are other common mistakes? What student do in terms of not planning the uh, course structure, or how? What do you think? What you have to say about that?
So there are minor mistakes I think that students make, like the one which I told you about, a student, she was
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the last minute to transfer her answer from the question booklet to the answer sheet. So one has to understand there is no extra time given. If there is any proper noun, for instance Taj Mahal is the correct option, so
Mm-hmm.
they should know that T and M has to be capital, otherwise the answer will be marked wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or small the, if they miss that out, that is also considered wrong. And the most important thing one the student needs to understand here is that always uh, there are the sorry, the heading is already always given, that one has to understand, not do not answer in more than one word, or do not answer more than a word or a number, not more than 3 words and a number. If
Mm-hmm.
they are like if the answer is the tomb of the pharaoh and the
Mm-hmm.
statement says do not answer in more than 3 words, and if they write the tomb of the pharaoh, which is the correct answer also, but it will be marked wrong because you have not followed the rule
Mm-hmm.
over there which is given. So the pharaoh's tomb, you have to merge it and put it in 3 words. So instructions that are given before each and every paragraph, one needs to read that very carefully. and like if it is not saying more than one word or a number, if the word number is not given and you have a number word as your option, don't
Mm-hmm.
write the numeric number,
Okay.
write only one if they are saying that, you know, if the number word is not given. So instruction, following the instruction is very very important.
Following. Can you hear me?
Yes sir.
Yeah. Okay. So, not writing the answers properly, you saying this is the common mistake what students are.
Sorry sir.
Not writing the answers properly in the sheet is the mistake what students are doing. Is it?
Yeah, they tend to not follow the instructions, like the basic grammatical mistakes they make, like I said, t and m in proper noun has to be capital. A small like making the singular word into plural or vice versa, that is also something which uh, students make mistakes, so that they have to be a little particular about that.
So, Kunjan, what is the
Yes.
but I had a question here. You mentioned something around true false not given. So,
Yes sir.
what can we do about true false not given?
Okay. True false not given, firstly one needs to understand that mostly the questions are in order, so that is one tip that I've already given.
Mm-hmm.
There is a minor difference between true false not given and yes no not given.
Mm-hmm.
It is similar, but yes no not given is something which you have to think from the opinion of the writer.
Okay.
Okay, what the writer has, what the writer's opinion is, and it tends to follow the order, so it will not be that difficult. And always read the statement and then read the passage. And as I've already said earlier, if you read the entire thing, mostly students make difficulty in false not given and true not given. So
Mm-hmm.
and the entire statement, if it is there in the passage, the entire meaning, you don't have to look for the exact words, the meaning has to be same, then it is considered true. If half of the information is contradicting, it is considered as false. If nothing, nowhere the statement was not talked about in the passage, or it was
Mm-hmm.
not mentioned in the passage anywhere, that is
Mm-hmm.
considered not given.
Oh.
So one has to read the entire statement, make yourself understand what is it, what the meaning is, and then read the passage. And if it is saying the same thing, it is true. If it is contradicting the statement, it is false. If nowhere it was mentioned, it is not given. So translate it in your mother tongue. I think that is the best suggestion I give, and it works for most of the student as well. Initially they feel a little difficult to find the answer, but with practice I think they
It
tend
can.
to cover it.
Oh. So I think that was a good informative session today. So I
Yes
thank
sir.
you very much. Any last words you want to add, or we can wind up?
No, I think I've said almost everything that I needed to.
Okay.
But yeah, you have to, like, if you're sitting want to sit for an IELTS exam, you need to make sure that you give at least 1 month time. Try to
Mhm.
cover all, practice all the books that are given, and read English as much as possible. Play word games, as no answers are given in exactly the same word. So paraphrasing, synonyms, you should be familiar with that, which will also help you with listening. And if you're learning a new word, that will help you with your writing as well as speaking. So in and all, it is all interconnected.
Mhm.
So I think that is something which will help them in understanding.
Perfect. 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 Thank you, Kunjan, so much for taking out time and enlightening us with so much
Not
information.
a problem, sir. Anytime.
So we'll put this video up on YouTube so that other students can also get benefit from this.
Sure.
And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Anytime, sir. Thank you.